Before starting this video, I do want to give a shout out to my patrons that support the channel. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are some great benefits for you if you want to look at the Patreon link down below. So with that out of the way, let's get into this week's video. What's going on YouTube? This is Devin coming back at you with another video today on PubStomp MTG. Glad to have you here. Today we're going to be looking at Atraxa Grand Unifier, the newest and latest version of Atraxa. We do have that old Atraxa Praetor's voice. There are some similar abilities here, like having that flying, vigilance, death touch, and lifelink. Instead of proliferating at your end step, we have a really amazing enter the battlefield ability when it reads, when Atraxa Grand Unifier enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, you may put a card of that type from among the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So they added some reminder text because we do have a new card type with battle. So we have artifact, battle, creature, enchantment, instant, land, planeswalker, and sorcery are all card types. So it looks like they don't have tribal in there anymore, but it makes sense because of what's going on with tribal. But it's really cool that we do have a new type with battle. So the first thing I thought about with this card is, of course, it does remind me of Niv-Mizzet Reborn. It has that same ability of looking at the top 10 cards of your library, but instead of getting guild colors like with Niv-Mizzet, you're getting card types with Atraxa. I do find Atraxa a little better on that, even though you're losing the color red on there. I just feel like getting card types is a lot better than situational pieces of getting maybe a couple of guild color pairs. To be quite honest, this is a good stuff commander where it has a lot of good things going for it. It is pretty steep on the mana cost, costing 7 mana total to enter the battlefield with 4 color pips. I mean, it might be easier said than done because you do have green in there, but I do like this card a lot because if your whole entire game plan is screwed, you could easily just go in for some commander damage. It is a 7/7 flyer and also has flying, vigilance, death touch, and lifelink. So it has some evasion, and also on top of that is a great blocker to block into. I mean, to be quite fair, if Toxrill is being played in CDH, so this can too as well. I mean, is this the best commander you could play for CDH? Most likely no, in my opinion, because there's a lot of other great commanders out there that kind of beat this out. However, I'm more about playing commanders that are not necessarily the top tier CDH cards, but I do like playing them anyways because it honestly gives some breath of fresh air, because in CDH you do see a lot of different games where they're the same commander over and over again, and this is just a breath of fresh new air. So let's dive into some of the strategies you may want to follow in this CDH deck tech for Atraxa Grand Unifier. So when I first read this card, the first impression I got, okay, this is definitely a food chain commander because of its great ETB of getting card advantage into your hand. This is a pretty popular combo in CDH. It's kind of fallen off the map because of ad nauseam and also on top of that with stacks decks. But honestly, I really love this kind of combo in my CDH decks because it's one of my favorite cards, especially looking at the art. It's absolutely amazing. However, if you haven't seen this combo before, this is how it works. So we have cards like Mist Hollow Griffin and Eternal Scourge where you can play from exile. So let's use Eternal Scourge for this example. So we're going to activate Food Chain by exiling Eternal Scourge to it, adding 4 mana of any one color. The big stipulation to this card is you can only cast spells that are creature spells. However, since you can cast Eternal Scourge from exile, you're going to keep on netting 1 mana each time you exile Eternal Scourge, gaining infinite mana to cast creature spells. Because Atraxa is in the command zone, you could use that infinite mana to cast Atraxa Grand Unifier on the battlefield, then exiling it to Food Chain, getting all that card advantage, and then drawing out your whole deck essentially. And then you could use any kind of win con as you wish, either like a Walking Ballista or a Thassa's Oracle if you want to. So the next question is, how do we get there? How do we get to that point where we could do the Food Chain combo? We do have the Forbidden Tutors like Demonic Consultation and Tainted Pact. For example, if we want to search for Food Chain, we simply name Food Chain on Demonic Consultation. Hopefully we'll exile some of our Food Chain cards like Eternal Scourge or Mist Hollow Griffin so that we could use them in our Food Chain combo when we search up Food Chain. Also, these do provide a great win con separately from the Food Chain combo for Thassa's Oracle as well. So that's another great win con in here as well. I would say there's definitely some things to consider when running Food Chain because I have run Food Chain in a lot of different decks, tested it out here and there, With different commanders like Prosh, Ukama, the First Sliver, and Omnath, I feel like all these have some great abilities, either being an outlet on the command zone, or getting you some card draw, or having First Sliver being a completely unique, weird way of cascading your whole entire deck. I would say I personally find the First Sliver a little overrated. The only reason why it's really good is because it does have access to all 5 colors, but I do feel like the ones with the outlet like Ukima or Prosh are pretty good by itself. But however, I do like the ones that have the card draw, like Omnath, because you get to draw into your whole entire deck, you can draw into all your counter spells, and you could be ready for what to come next if you play your win con. That's why I personally really like this new version of Atraxa, because you have access to black, so you have access to those Forbidden Tutors, and you could easily do the Thassa Demonic Consultation combo if you wanted to instead. Compared to Ukima and Prosh, it does have access to white, where we could have Enlightened Tutor where we could search for our food chain. Also, we do have silence effects like Silence and Grand Abolisher. These both provide a great way to make sure that we are not interrupted with our food chain combo. Fortunately, we do also have the blue color combination, unlike Prosh, where we could counter whatever's coming our way to make sure that we could get our food chain combo online. So I do want to re-emphasize this. Is this the best food chain commander possible out there? Most likely not. We'll see in the future. I mean, it is 7 mana total, so it is a high mana cost, but I do like it for its originality to kind of bring something new to the format. I would definitely say it's in the right color pairs to make sure that you can get your food chain online. I know a lot of you are probably going to be writing in the comments, this is definitely not cEDH viable, but hear me out. I just like to play new, fun commanders that kind of bring a breath of fresh air to the format instead of playing the same top 10 commanders every single time, because it kind of gets boring to me when you play the same game plan over and over again. And to kind of see a new commander do almost the same thing is really refreshing, even if it's a little bit. However, let me know down below, what are your thoughts about this new version of Atraxa? Is it everything you'd hope it to be, or is it kind of a disappointment to you? I actually really like this new version of Atraxa because, again, I love the food chain combo, and this is an excellent way to use that food chain. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. That's definitely the best way to support the channel. And with that out of the way, thank you for stomping by.